Yeah, that was fun, man. That was one of the highlights for me. Again, not because of the titles. Titles don't mean dick to me, but it was the fact that we got to work with Kevin Nash and DDP. Got a lot of respect for both those guys. They've been around a while, so I learned a lot from those guys, and I think, if anything, that was the highlight, you know.
Right.
How emotional was it backstage on the last night of WCW Nitro on March 26th of 2001?
You know, it's funny, emotion. I don't know if emotions would be the word to describe it. It was weird. It was weird and nerve-wracking. You're sitting in the locker room with all your guys from WCW, which was a Turner-owned product, and here comes Shane McMahon, the son of Vince McMahon. And now he's calling the shots. You go to the gorilla position, you get Jerry Briscoe back there, and it's like, who are these guys, you know? I mean, I know you know who they are, but weird feeling. It was cool. A little bit of pressure, but I was real happy that I got to perform on the last actual episode. So that made my night. A little weird, though. You know, obviously WWF guys come in like they're the shit. You know, Shane comes in with an attitude. Briscoe comes in with an attitude. It's like typical, but, you know, whatever.
What were your thoughts on that night when you wrestled Team Canada on the Nitro?
It was cool, man. It's too bad what happened with Mike here. I'm sorry, Mike Awesome. But it was cool, man. It was fun. Guys have been around a while. Lance Storm and Mike Awesome had been around a while. So, again, anytime young guys can go ahead and work with these older guys who are veterans, I mean, it's a learning experience. So I felt privileged.
Definitely. You know, you were actually with the company, or it's been 8 years since the purchase of WCW. Did you think that the company would ever go out of business or be purchased by Vince at the time?
You know, towards the end, I did. I thought just because the way it was being managed, it was basically it was going to implode at some time or another. And it did. But in the beginning, no, man, I thought it was never going to end. You know, WCW was definitely the place to work. The money was 10 times better than what Vince paid his guys. The guaranteed money was better. Everything was better. Travel was better. Hotels were better. Actually, they paid for our hotels, paid for our rental cars. Went to Vince, and it was like pay dropped, paying for your own cars, paying for your own hotels.
Oh, wow.
You know, people talk about, you know, WWF being better than WCW. No way. And it's funny because the guys who thought they wanted to leave WCW and go to Vince, once we got over to Vince, they ate their words. They wished they were back in WCW. That includes the Booker T's, the Buff Bagwells, the Lex Lugers. Those guys, Stein, Scotty, good friend of mine, Scotty Stein, those guys wish WCW was still around. So do I, you know.
Yeah, you bring up Buff Bagwell. We had him on a while back, and he brought up that, you know, when he first arrived at the last Nitro, that you know, the original Four Horsemen and everybody were standing outside taking pictures, and everyone was in tears, and it was just very emotional. Do you agree with him?
No, not really. It wasn't that emotional. I think people are I think those guys are over exaggerating a little bit. People were lost for words. People didn't know what to think. It was, I don't know, I can't really describe it. It was weird. It was a weird scene. People they didn't know what to think. They didn't know what was going to happen next. People were very unsure. That was more of the deal, like that, you know?
Definitely.
Of course, tomorrow is WrestleMania. What I'm wondering is, how was it like being backstage at WrestleMania 17?
Oh, it was good. I think I wrestled in that one, didn't I?
Actually, I do believe you did.
I think so.
WrestleMania, anytime you can participate in WrestleMania, it's amazing. I think I was at the Toronto Skydome. I want to say 67,000 people. It's like amazing feeling, amazing rush. I remember walking to the ring, it took forever. Billy and I walking to the ring, it was like amazing. But yeah, it's a privilege to be part of that show. I would say one of the greatest shows in the world. Yeah, I wish I could have did more of them.
Definitely.
What were your thoughts of being part of the Alliance stable when you guys did the invasion of WWF?
I think it sucked. I think they pretty much just jobbed us all out, you know. That pretty much showcased the WWF guys that do anything for the guys coming in. Again, I refer to the fact that Vince always breaks guys down when he brings them in. I don't care how over they are, how not over they are. He breaks them down to zero for the most part, unless you're a main event guy, and he starts from scratch with you. Unless he built you from ground up, he's going to break you back down and build you again from ground up.
Definitely. You actually brought up Billy Gunn as a tag team partner. What was it like teaming with him? And whose idea was it?
Oh, gosh, that originally started off as a joke. I believe Sarge and Slaughter was joking around in one of the agents' meetings. That's pretty much how it started. And then Vince jumped on the bandwagon. Hunter jumped on the bandwagon with it. And I remember Hunter had came up to me and said, "Hey, Chuck, man, Vince is going to have you guys dye your hair blonde and wrestle the tag team, you know, and do this extravagant thing." And it was supposed to be a joke, you know. It ended up turning out to be something real good, you know.
Yeah, it was very over.
Yeah, but very over, and it was never intended to, but that's the thing in wrestling. The things that you never think would get over, you know. Things that you think are going to get over, don't get over, you know.
Yeah, it's always the most simple gimmicks that people, you know, you're like, why are you making me do this? But it gets over. The crowd loves it.
People love it. It was simple. It was fun. I'm a confident man. I mean, I don't care about acting like, you know, whatever they want to call us. What were we? We were performing gay innuendos, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I made more money. That was a highlight of my career as far as money goes. I made more money that year than I did any year of my career, you know.
Right.
Definitely.
What are your memories of you and Billy Gunn winning the WWF World Tag Team titles from Taz and Spike Dudley?
Nah, that was no big deal. I'm going to be honest with you. Again, privileged again, but again, a prop, number one. Number two, when Spike and Taz had the titles, basically they would just, I don't remember how they won the titles, but they weren't an established tag team. It wasn't like we won the titles from, you know, the Road Warriors or, you know, something like that. You know what I mean? It was, not a knock on those guys. I love both those guys. They're definitely great guys, but they threw those guys together. They had the straps on them. They wanted us to be the champs, so we took the straps off them. That's basically how it happened. It was, you know.
You think they were just transitioning champions?
They were transitioning champions. I understand that, which was fine. And I think they knew that, too. It's just part of the business. Again, to me, the tag titles are a prop, you know. A privilege,
Definitely.
but a prop.
Right.
No, I agree. Any trophy in wrestling, whether it's a belt or King of the Ring, stuff like that, it's always a prop. It's just something to help somebody get over more. You don't need it.
Absolutely.
If you can get your career, if you can get yourself over without a belt, then that's even better than putting a belt on you, because that's just another thing to carry in your bag.
Absolutely. Especially with the airport security these days.
Exactly. Trust me, I know I'm an indie worker, so I totally understand that.
Oh, right on. No, so you get it then, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I do believe Juice and Jobber has a question.
All right. I was also wondering, what thoughts on Billy wrestling Edge and Hulk Hogan on the last episode of SmackDown back in 2002?
Oh, man. That was fun. Except when Hulk Hogan backed out of my super kick and didn't want to take it. And I missed him by about 3 inches. But other than that, you know, it was great. Here I am, 45 minutes from my hometown of Providence, Rhode Island, in Boston, at the Fleet Center in front of probably 15,000 people. Here I am wrestling against Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, here I am. I'm the same guy who grew up watching Hulk Hogan. So to be in the ring with him and laying into him and wrestling with him and working with him and just the stigma, his charisma, the energy of the crowd, that was amazing. That was probably one of the definite highlights. I get a lot of respect for Hulk. He's a pioneer, you know.
You know, you mentioned working with Hulk. You know, working with bigger names or even legends, you always learn something. Do you feel you learned a lot from working with him?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I learned that less is more. And I don't care what anybody says. You can be the best wrestler, technical wrestler in the world, and that does not mean anything.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm always one to say that, you know, just because you can do 1,000 flips doesn't mean you can entertain a crowd.
Absolutely. And he's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I mean, he goes out there, he works the crowd. That's exactly what you need to do. Whether you're a heel or a face, it's great to work the crowd compared to doing 1,000 flips. I mean, sure, anybody, like I put it, any jackass can do 1,000 flips, but to actually work a match and tell a story, that's another story.
Yeah, absolutely. The business is entertainment. The name of the business is wrestling, you know.